G'day fellas, and welcome to a very special Age of Empires game. Today we have the inaugural controller versus keyboard. It is happening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to introduce, in the north of the map, in the color purple, playing as the Byzantines, representing Team Keyboard. It's Ga 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 Ga! And on the south side of the map, in the color yellow, playing as Shunavak, representing Team Controller. It is the one, it is the only, it is the Viper EXE. It's a little bit different, it's not the same guy, but it's Viper with a controller, basically. Think of it that way. This guy is one of the best console players, if not the best console player, that there is currently alive on the planet. That's how good this guy is. On the entirety of this planet, this guy is whoa, hold on a minute. We're watching the same scout. Look at that. He's so good. We're watching the same scout twice. Look at that. Damn, look at that. We zoom in on one, and we don't have to zoom in on the other one. All right, you know what? Maybe we can watch the Byzantine scout as well. Let's see if we can go find that. There we go. All right, now you guys want a bit of split screen? There we go, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, we're on Cliffside. I'm excited, you're excited. And now the question is, who comes out on top? The controller player, the keyboard player? Which one is it going to be? Because as you will have heard, there are rumblings in the community of a little bit of rivalry this season. The controller players have said, PC players, watch out. We are coming for your ELO. And as a PC player, that scares me. I like my ELO. I want to keep that. I've worked hard for that, man. Don't take that from me. Especially not a guy named Viper EXE. It sounds like you're going to run a Viper on my computer. No, I'm just kidding. I was going to say virus, but yeah. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's exciting. I'm excited. I hope you're excited as well, because we have got ourselves an absolute banger of a game, I'm sure. With Viper EXE last season, this guy, get this, he had a win rate of 94%. How is that even possible? 94% with a controller, 94%. That is absolutely crazy. Now, obviously, back then on the Xbox, he was up against other people with controllers. Now, he's up against people with keyboards, up against people with mice. And I'll be honest, as a cat guy, mice aren't really my thing. But whatever floats your boat. I'm excited. I'm really excited. All right, we got the age up coming through. I'm going to focus on Viper. I want to see exactly what he gets up to, because not only does he take the same name, well, not take the same name, but not only does he have a similar name to my favorite, the Viper, but he also chooses the color yellow, which is obviously the Viper's color as well. So these guys, I'm confident, are just going to be two peas in a pod. We got the age up coming through. Now, one of the things to note is that when it comes to playing with the controller, there's a couple of cool little things. Like, number one, or I shouldn't say playing with the controller, but when you're playing on Xbox, there's a couple of cool little things that they do. And I want to talk about this because, to me, this is kind of important, right? It's called quality of life. And I know there's always going to be elitists that say, Drongo, you can't be getting rid of these things. Have a look at this. Ready? Did you see that? You see how the villager gets trained and then immediately another villager gets put in the queue after it? It's called auto queue. And this has been around in Age of Mythology for a long time. But essentially, there's always going to be elitists in the community that say, we can't do that, because if we do that, that's going to reduce the skill ceiling. So as an example, like in Age of Empires 2, they used to have this thing where you couldn't, like, you had to individually click every single barracks and train a single unit at a time. They changed it. And initially, people were like, this is stupid. This isn't going to work. And literally within a day, everyone's like, oh no, this was definitely the right change. It's happened in Age of Empires 3 before, AOM, it's happening as well. And I think it's one of those things that sort of bridges the gaps between the lower players and the higher players. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I want to know what you guys think. Are you open to these sorts of quality of life changes? So as an example, I'll give you one of my favorite quality of life changes that I have actually suggested. So you guys might know I used to play another game. I still do kind of play it, not really. It's called Beyond All Reason. It's an RTS game, which is, I would almost say it's almost grand in scale. It's not technically, it is an RTS game compared to, say, a grand RTS game. But one of the things it's got is auto hotkey. And you might be wondering, what the hell's that? So let's imagine you're playing the Byzantines here, and you've got a barracks, and you've got an archery range. When you make a barracks, and then you train a Lametanai out of it, you can grab that Lametanai and do a command that says auto hotkey control group 1. So you can just call it control group 1. And what that means is every Lamentinite that you then train from any barracks on the map will then go into control group 1 automatically. And then as an example, you can say, well, let's say that you train a Varangian guard. You can then also add that to control group 1. So any Varangian guard that you train, any Lamentinite that you train will automatically go into control group 1. I love that. It makes it so easy whenever you're playing, because at the end of the day, you're making lots of units, and I don't know about you guys, I played the Byzantines before, and one of the biggest issues I have with them is adding units to control groups, because I'm not kidding you, I'm making longbows, I'm making crossbows, I'm making Varangian guards, I'm making Lamentinite, I've got my siege, I've probably got some horsemen somewhere on the map. There are so many units to control. But have a look at units. Speaking of units, take a look at this down on the south side of the map. We've got Gar going for a little bit of a silly desert raider strategy up against the Jeanne d'Arc. It makes sense when you think about it, right? This does make sense. How much is it going to cost him? 540 olive oil. That is a lot of olive oil. I wonder how much he's going to get. And have a look at this. We've got the Royal Knight already on the way through for Viper, representing Team Controller. He's also got this herdable sheep that's just going to be making its way back towards the base. Meanwhile, on that backside, we do see the archery range now going to be coming up for Viper. It's going to be 3 Desert Raiders that all come out. Keep in mind, these guys do have the ability to switch up. And look at this. Once again, charge going to be coming through. We'll make a connection. Villager going to come back, and this guy's good. This guy's good. A lot of players would have looked to try and commit there to get that Villager. Would have copped a lot more damage on that Royal Knight. Not Viper. He makes sure to hold... Keep that health. That's the most important part. But now a little bit of a raid on the backside. Keep in mind the camels, or the Desert Raiders will do very well here against any potential cavalry threat. The best thing that you can make against them is going to be archers. Spearmen, they will kite. Cavalry, they will kill. But it looks like Viper is going to be turning around. It feels a little bit weird casting Viper when he's playing the yellow and saying Viper, because I don't normally call him the Viper. You know, like my actual Viper. But who knows? Maybe this Viper actually becomes my new Viper. Because I'll be honest, it's been a while since we've seen Viper in the ring. Who knows where he's been? I'd like to see him back though. I'm sure you would as well. Anyway, let's get into it, because we've got our camels. Scout's gonna go down here. Now let's see how good this micro is coming out from our controller player. Oh, almost I saw it. Don't pretend you didn't, ladies and gentlemen. That was pretty good. Comes in, gets a little bit of a heal. Keep in mind that heal does heal missing health. That's a big difference. So if you've got 99% of your health and you pop that, you're not gonna be getting too much health. Whereas if you're missing 99% of your health, compared to if you've got 99% of your health, you will get a significant boost. You get almost 30%. So it is 30% of missing health. But those unit numbers are now going to start to climb. Now, keep in mind for Gar, he's going to be going for a fast cast. So we can see that right here. It feels weird because I was about to call him an Ayyubid player. Look at that. Nice little charge coming through. We'll get a connection, not to mention the charge as well. And yeah, we've got ourselves the beginnings of some significant amounts of units that are coming out here. Consecrate's going to come through for School of Cavalry, reducing the cost, or the food cost down on those Royal Knights. And now have a look at this. Viper's moving out over towards the west side. Wow. This really goes to show he's a pretty smart player. And look, I don't want to sound like I'm I sound like I'm condescending, and that's not what I mean. I probably wouldn't have thought of this. I just would have been like, why the hell does he have Desert Raiders? Okay? But Viper's obviously played enough games that he knows, okay, this guy's got Desert Raiders because he's put this over near the trade post. And I can see the trade post on the minimap because I'm playing as Jeanne d'Arc, and I know there's a trade post here, and I know that the Desert Raiders came in from the backside, so they're over here. So let's go hit his production. We can probably even get a villager out of it, and that's exactly what he does. Absolutely awesome stuff coming through now. We do have the Cistern of the First Hill going to be coming up over towards this north side. Interesting decision. I don't think we've casted a Cistern of the Hill game in a long time. In fact, ever have we casted it? I'm not sure. A little bit of interesting base building coming out though. Viper splitting up the production. Normally we do like to see these all close together here, but we do have a little bit of an archer on Desert Raider action. The siege is going to continue over towards this west side of the map. I guess it's the west side. Yeah, it's the west edge of the map. We'll call it the west edge of the map. And yeah, I mean, at this stage of the game, things are going pretty well for Viper. Have a look at that. 1 military population against 13. The system of the first hill is online. And my question is, where does he go from here? He could go into Varangian Guards, or he could go into Cataphracts. I'm not normally a fan of Cataphracts, but the fact that you've got the system of the first hill, in my opinion, does actually make them viable. So whether we will actually see that come online, because that has received a buff in the past, I just don't think players have really gotten around to wanting to utilize it and its tempo. I think if you are going to use it, you definitely have to be going for a very quick, fast castle. Even more so than, like, what we've seen today is probably about the slowest fast castle that you could be going for, right? Like a 10-minute one. And I say that meaning that in the sense of the system of the first hill, right? Like, if we're going for this landmark, then this is probably the slowest fast castle that you could do. Anything slower than this, you're just better off going for your Golden Horn Tower. Well, it's currently 20 military population against 1. Gaga is going to have a little bit of time to grow up, which he'll need to because he is a baby. And now Knight's now going to start moving in. The first one's going to hit the charge. Second one also makes a connection. Manages to get a second villager there. So nice little pickups coming through from Viper, slowly getting that villager lead going. At the moment, he does have the same amount of villagers as his opponent, which is interesting. That's kind of strange. Did he run out of resources maybe? Is that what happened and the auto queue didn't kick in? I don't know exactly how auto queue works, but we are going to see a second battering ram now starting to come up here. Gaga is going to fire, or rather, Viper's going to fire off towards Gaga, and we see the gulp come through right there. The Desert Raider's just going to go to full health. Massive waste. In my opinion, huge waste. We want to try and stockpile these bad boys for our cataphracts as much as we can. We want to try and go in and get a good little trade and then heal up, because the heals on these bad boys are pretty decent. You're talking, what are we talking here? We're talking 25 per second for 6 seconds, so 150 health. Not bad at all. When the cataphract's got, what, 360? It's like 40% of the health pool. That's alright. It's not as strong as it used to be, but cataphract numbers are starting to build here. Looks like, for the moment, Viper's not going to be adding in any more knights, and now the charges come through towards the front. Archer's going to fire off. We're going to see a little bit of a spin to win and a heal now on the camel. Meanwhile, the cataphract is going to get that little bit of extra health coming through. You can see him trying his best to keep the cataphract alive. Manages to do so. Will be losing that one camel, but in the meantime, have a look at this. We've got battering rams coming down, and the Xbox controller is absolutely dominating at this 12th minute mark in the game. Gaga holding on for dear life here as the numbers. Look at this. It's ridiculous. 26 against 4. How does he possibly hold himself in this game? Now, we do see that there is, towards this top side, we've got the mercenary house that's gone down, and he is going to be looking to move into the Keshik. Keep in mind, he does also have the veterancy upgrade here. So these Keshiks are going to be a little bit stronger than normal. We do have the ability to gulp. You got to be careful. You got to be careful up against cataphracts here with the gulp. With the gulp online, a little bit of a spin to win, a little bit of a, it's a little bit far away. I'm going to be honest. The gulp comes through. There's 1. There's 2. He gets the heals in, and no, Joan, you've overextended. Poor Joan, he wasn't paying attention, and unfortunately just loses it at this early stage in the game. Now we're going to see the battering ram go down, and hold on a minute. The cataphract numbers are starting to build. Looks like one may go down. 10 health on it. Unable to pick it off. That's going to be gulping up any second now. Meanwhile, speaking of gulps, we've got 2 more out towards the front. Keshik looking to do a bit of healing. No spearmen, at least with this army at the moment. There are technically 4 on the field. They're going to make their way over towards that west side. But I tell you what, they can't come fast enough. And my fear right now is that 4 spearmen might not be enough. The cataphracts chasing through the middle of the map zone. And we see that cataphract charge also coming in. Remember, they've got a special trample ability. And able to pick off a couple of knights there. Viper holding on for dear life. Brings the spears forward. These guys are going to do a lot of damage very quickly, and we can see them taking out the first of the Keshiks. Will hit a cataphract. Second cataphract's going to be going down. Gulp. 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 He gets another one. Keshik not going to be there. 1 health on that. Oh my lord, how is he surviving with this? Gaga. These guys are pretty good players. Keep that in mind. Currently, both of these players sit inside the Diamond rank. Viper currently ranked Diamond 3. Gaga currently ranked Diamond 2. So these guys are moving towards the top of the table. And remember, early on in the season, it is a little bit, your rank's always a little bit lower, just because obviously we don't have that inflation that's come through just yet. So these guys are probably, definitely conqueror players. We can say that much. Next gulp now going to come through. Gaga going to be filling up those health pools. Once again, look at this. This is... Am I impressed by the system of the first hill? I think I might be. And to be honest, that scares me because I don't like this landmark. And I'm starting to like it. Viper, don't make me like the other landmark. Please, Viper, come on. Pull it together, son. I'm rooting for you. Now, you got to remember, guys, I just want to reinforce this. No matter who wins here today, whether it's the PC player or the controller player, at the end of the day, we're all friends, okay? So when I see Reddit posts that say, I'm getting bullied by PC players, I want you guys to stop it, okay? when I say I want you to stop it, I'm not talking to the controller Xbox players saying I want you to stop making those Reddit posts. I'm talking to the PC players. Stop bullying the controller players, all right? We're allowed to have fun. We're allowed to jest with each other, but don't make it harmful, all right? Just because they're using a controller doesn't mean that you're better than them. Just because I've got a mouse doesn't mean that I'm better than you, all right? We're all fair, we're all square, and at the end of the day, we all love RTS games, and that's what matters. But now, speaking of love, have a look at this. We've got ourselves another Joan. She's risen from the dead. We've got a couple of Varangian... No, I take it back. It's Gulams that are going to be joining out. These guys actually stack really well with the system of the first hill because they've got huge health pools. Battering rams up towards the top side. Going to be parking it up for the moment. Royal Knights, they're nowhere to be seen. Joan's going to be going down, and now that charge, once again, with the Cataphracts and Keshiks together, is looking to soak up all of that. Oh, that's a lot of spears. Not really. It's like 5 spears, but hey, it's enough. It's enough. Gulams have got their +1 ranged armor as well, which means they're not going to be taking too much damage. And we do see Gulp come through. He's going to lose it, unfortunately, before too much can be done with it. Meanwhile, where did those spears go? Did he clean up those spears? Maybe he's just run past them. More spears coming through. Decent production coming out, and really good job of spending money here as well for Viper. This can definitely be something difficult. Farms are starting to come down here, not opting for the relics. Or not the relics, the berries over towards his east side. He's also got access to potential deer, but obviously with Cataphracts on the map at the moment, Viper's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Jones going to come out, a little bit of a spin to win, if you don't mind. Vils jump inside the town center. Jones going to go down a second time in, geez, only seconds. And now we've got landmarks under attack, and now the Cataphracts make their way into the base, and we start to see the power of the Byzantines rise. Villager number will start dropping here. He's already taken out 6 workers this game. Spears looking to try and reinforce. Rest of the units will be coming back towards the base. He's going to continue kiting. Look at this. Look at this kiting that we've got. Never mind. The kiting has stopped. The kiting has stopped. But focusing back towards the base, I think one of the biggest issues that we've got right now is that Viper's just kind of fighting or sending in these units one by one. And ideally, we'd like to have like a bigger force fighting them, but the Cataphracts have done incredibly well. The system of the first hill actually makes them difficult to deal with. So I think Byzantines definitely have a chance of going into some cool strategies here. I wonder if I can implement this into my super fast castle Byzantine strat, where you go for the longbows and go for the early, the early horsemen. Maybe that's an actual strategy. Dude, is that an actual strat? Okay, all right. Gaga. You may have convinced me. I'm gonna have to take that to the testing bench, the workbench. Second TC now coming up as well for Gaga. Looking to secure that lead even further. He's got a slight villager advantage at the moment. We've got a little bit of idle time back here in the base of Joan of Arc. 20 idle villagers for the moment. But the numbers are pretty good. I'm going to be honest, Viper has impressed me here today. We have seen some good stuff out of him. So I'm fearful about the outcome of this game as the Varangian Guard look to make a connection on the front side. Keep in mind, these guys have got all of their upgrades in 7 melee armor here. Is going to be stacking up so well against these spears. Keep in mind, the spears do like, what, 8 damage? Yeah, 8 damage +1. So 9 damage total. They're going to be barely scratching those Varangian Guards. Now moving in underneath the town center. This is where it's going to start to look a little bit sad here. Viper's going to get Joan back on the field. If he can get level 3 right here, this could be enough to turn the tide. He's been fighting for quite a bit, and I think she's picked up quite a bit of XP. In fact, we can check down here. I totally forgot. Still a little bit to go. If she goes down here, I think that's going to be it. I don't think there's any way you get back into the game. And that is indeed going to be it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an absolute pleasure to bring you this first episode of Controller versus Keyboard. I hope in the next episode, the Controller brothers will pull it together. That was a pretty good game, though. I'm not gonna lie. That was a good game. 19 minutes right there. That one was pretty damn good. Anyway, catch you in the next one.